the Narcotics Control Bureau has apprehended Jaffer Sadiq, who is the alleged kingpin in the India-Australia-New Zealand drug trafficking network. Big news that's now coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Sadik, who has also produced 5 Tamil films, ran a cartel that sent pseudoephedrine from India to Australia and New Zealand. Now, pseudoephedrine is essentially a drug. 4 people from Tamil Nadu were arrested from a warehouse in the national capital in this very connection just 2 weeks ago. Now, Sadik has been associated with the Dravida Munitra Kazhagam, the DMK, and was Chennai West deputy organizer until he was dismissed permanently from the party on the 25th of February over his links with the drug cartels. A joint operation by the NCB and the Delhi Police's special cell had dismantled an international drug trafficking syndicate. At least 50 kilograms of pseudoephedrine was seized in the national capital. After sustained interrogation, officials revealed that 45 consignments had been sent over the past 3 years, which contained approximately 3,500 kilograms of pseudoephedrine, valued at over 2,000 crore rupees in the international market. The BJP Tamil Nadu chief, K. Annamalai, has hit out against the DMK and on the platform X and said that, and I quote, "The NCB has nabbed the international drug lord and DMK functionary Jaffer Sadiq today, with many other DMK leaders moving closely with Jaffer Sadiq in the last 3 years." Big allegation that K. Annamalai is making. It is important to understand how Jaffer Sadiq acted as their conduit for money laundering. On behalf of BJP Tamil Nadu, we request the law enforcement authorities to comb deeply and ensure that Jaffer Sadiq's network is exposed and busted to ensure the free flow of drugs in Tamil Nadu under the DMK regime is curtailed. Meanwhile, MK Stalin, he was quick to respond. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Thiru MK Stalin, that's his handle on X, formerly known as Twitter, who was in deep slumber over the DMK functionaries' involvement in the international drug trade, has woken up suddenly, says K. Annamalai, to politicize a central government program. Now, Jaffer Sadiq, alias Bezo, has produced 5 Tamil movies and was a former DMK leader. He served as the Chennai West deputy organizer of DMK's NRI wing. He was expelled by the Tamil Nadu ruling party on the 25th of February. For more on this, my colleague Varghese Abraham is going to be soon with us, bringing us details as he's tracking the developments that we're tracking from the arrest that took place in the national capital about Sadiq, Jaffer Sadiq, his whereabouts, as well as the NCB arrests this Tamil film producer who allegedly ran an international drug trafficking ring, pseudoephedrine. Consignments of those, at least 3,500 kilograms over the last 3 years.
आज एनसीबी ने जफर सादिक नाम का एक सरगना जो कि इंटरनेशनल ड्रग रैकेट चला रहा था और इसका ड्रग रैकेट नई दिल्ली, तमिलनाडु और भारत की कई जगहों से मिलाकर न्यूजीलैंड, ऑस्ट्रेलिया और मलेशिया तक फैला हुआ था। इस अक्यूज ने बहुत ज्यादा पैसे कमाए थे ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग के थ्रू और उनको फिल्म, कंस्ट्रक्शन, हॉस्पिटैलिटी आदि व्यवसायों में इन्वेस्ट किया था और इनको कवर बिजनेस के रूप में इस्तेमाल कर रहा था। आपको ज्ञात होगा, पिछले महीने की 15 तारीख को दिल्ली पुलिस के स्पेशल सेल के सहयोग से हम लोगों ने बसई दारापुर जगह के गोदाम पे छापा मार के 50 किलो सूडोएफेड्रिन बरामद करने में सफलता प्राप्त की थी और 3 अभियुक्तों को गिरफ्तार किया था। इन 3 अभियुक्तों से हुई पूछताछ और साक्ष्यों के आधार पर हम इस निर्णय पर पहुंचे कि जाफर सादिक नाम का एक इनका सरगना, जो कि तमिल में फिल्म प्रोडक्शन का काम भी करता है और कई बड़े लोगों से उसके संबंध हैं, वो इस रैकेट को रन कर रहा था। तो एक स्पेसिफिक इंटेलिजेंस के आधार पे एनसीबी ने जाफर सादिक को आज गिरफ्तार करने में सफलता हासिल की है।
Now, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration found out the source of the consignments was actually the national capital, Delhi. An NCB team, it teamed up with Delhi's police's special cell to launch a probe about more than a month ago. They busted the drug trafficking racket on the 15th of February, and around 50 kilograms of pseudoephedrine was seized in that particular bust. What we're also picking up is that over the last 3 years, this man, Jaffer Sadiq, allegedly smuggled and trafficked nearly 3,500 kilograms of pseudoephedrine, worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. The Narcotics Control Bureau has apprehended Jaffer Sadiq. All right, Varghese P. Abraham, my colleague, who is tracking this story very keenly, joins us on the broadcast. Varghese, from how I'm looking at the story, there seems to be a couple of questions here. Let's unfold them one by one. Number one, who is Jaffer Sadiq? Why is he important for Tamil Nadu politics, and why is this big news at the moment?
Well, Jaffer Sadiq has been a NRI wing leader of the DMK, and he was given a functionary role in that as well. He was supposed to, in fact, be in touch with the NRIs who are funding the DMK, and also to organize meets for the DMK leaders when they go abroad. So it was quite clear that he was the technical person who would the DMK go to for some kind of an outreach abroad, or the Tamils who are settled abroad. So he had a large clout with the DMK leaders, because it's automatically brought in the DMK councillor, the ministers who were in the cabinet or together whenever they went abroad, and therefore events were organized. So he wasn't quite in touch with them. That is why Annamalai in fact goes ahead and mentions that most of these DMK ministers had walked very closely with him, and therefore there should be a thorough probe into it. But Kabir, the issue started after 50 kgs of this banned substance was first busted in Delhi. Now this has been an international racket. This pseudoephedrine, which has been produced here, had been shipped to New Zealand, Australia, and even the US had been worried, especially with these consignments coming into that country as well. It was the US drug enforcement authorities who in fact tracked that consignment to Delhi, and that is where they came to know that in Delhi there was a source for this. This led to the series of raids by the NCB, and they were able to apprehend, and later the role of this Jaffer Sadiq came into the forefront, after which the DMK, in fact, sensing that Jaffer Sadiq would be a huge political liability for them, decided to expel him from the party on this issue on February 25th. The NCP had, in fact, gone ahead and sealed his house in Mylapore on February 29th as well. After that, he's been on the run. Latest what we hear is that he was arrested from Jaipur based on an information that was given in by the authorities as such. Now, this is being said that the entire cartel, the value of that entire cartel is said to be around 2,000 crores. So it's not a small network that we were in fact looking into it, and that is why the Tamil Nadu BJP is in fact hinting that there should be more to this. Certainly. And therefore there should be a thorough investigation into it, because the links within the DMK might be exposed if anyone was in tune with the accused person, that is Jaffer Sadiq. But the DMK has said that they have taken immediate action when they came to know that he was involved in it, and they have expelled him from the party, and that none of the party members have anything to do with it.
You know what, Varghese? K. Annamalai is essentially not the presenter that everybody would have thought. He has put out the DMK files, but this particular case, considering he is himself a Dabang police officer, a former police officer, this case seems to be right down his alley. And the way with which he's accused the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin. What does that tell us about the political fabric of Tamil Nadu and where it's heading? Let's not forget 2024 polls right around the corner.
Well, one thing is there for sure, Kabir, that the arrest of Jaffer Sadiq could have its damaging impact if Jaffer Sadiq does in fact go and blame any of the current functionaries within the DMK. So the Chief Minister would in fact be caught up in a political imbroglio if any of his colleagues or anyone from the party in the higher up of the party's management is in fact involved in it, or rather its leadership is involved in it. So that would be a problem just ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. But Annamalai seems to be having capitalizing on it, and he said that there should be a thorough probe into it. So the BJP has been saying that when it comes to the issue of Jaffer Sadiq, one thing is for clear, that there should be some of the links have to be probed, either to prove there is something to it or not to it, but there should be a thorough probe into why Jaffer Sadiq, whether he was using his political offices or party offices for the trafficking of the drugs or not.
Well, all right. Finally, Varghese, you know what? Talk us a little bit about this pseudoephedrine as well. You seem to be a man of chemistry yourself. Pseudoephedrine, how lethal is this? What do you do with it? Do you have any idea about that on that front?
Well, it is a narcotic substance. It has been, it has to be produced in certain conditions, in a lab condition, and it has an international value to it, because of which the NCB had in fact kept a close look onto this particular thing, and that is why you have Australian authorities as well as the New Zealand authorities worried about it. The Americans have also been investigating this particular source of drugs, the source of drugs, or the pseudoephedrine that has been coming in, and therefore, Kabir, it was an international effort to actually find out the kingpin of this cartel who's been supplying into what do we call it as Australia Pacific region, as well as even towards some of the Western markets in Europe as well as US. So right now, what we estimate from the little investigation that's gone into it is that it's supposed to be a 2,000 crore cartel. It could be much bigger than that. The network could be much more extensive, because of course we can't run a huge network like this without understanding its implications. So a proper investigation is what needs to be done into it to actually unearth it.
Varghese, finally, one last little question before we move on. You already told us how it may end up being a political liability for the DMK, which is why they must have severed their ties, and rightly so, on the 25th of February this month. But this man has also produced 5 Tamil films. Tamil Nadu cinema and Tamil politics, they also go hand in hand. Do you think it's going to create little problems in the Tamil Nadu movie industry as well, his arrest?
Well, Kabir, it all depends on what Jaffer Sadiq is going to speak about in the custody of the police, and therefore at the moment the police are also tight-lipped, because they know that when Jaffer Sadiq is going to speak, he's going to give some extensive information regarding this network. So how deep this network will be, whether it was deep within politics, whether it was deep within the entertainment industry, and how internationally spread it was, well, we'll have to wait for those details after his interrogation. Right now we know is that his arrest has taken place. It has its implications on Tamil Nadu's politics as well, with the BJP hitting out at the DMK on this.
All right then, Varghese P. Abraham bringing us the latest details vis-a-vis Sadik Jaffer's nabbing by the NCB, a big drug kingpin and a drug cartel that has now come out in the open.